everyone, and welcome to Mountaineer Farm Talk. My name is J.J. Barrett. I'm the Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension Agent in Wood County, and I have a couple of my co-hosts here. We have John Johnson, or John David Johnson. What's going on, JD?
Oh, not too much. I'm holding it down here in Jackson County. I'm the ag agent in Jackson County, and we're moving cattle and getting the crops out of the field right now.
Good. And we also have Evan Wilson.
Yep,
and
I'm Evan
down
Wilson.
in Cabell and Wayne. How are you this morning?
Oh, doing good. Just now got back from State Fair last night. Spent half the week down there fairly, so we're doing good.
Good. And of course, our special guest today is Leslie Boggess. Is that am I pronouncing that right, Leslie?
Right, Leslie Boggess, correct.
Leslie Boggess, and she is the one of the program directors down at the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. What's going on today, Leslie?
Well, it's Friday. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, not too
Good.
much.
Well, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Like I said, if you're interested in animal health, livestock nutrition, forages, pasture improvement, farm management, crop production, country and western music, rural health issues, horticulture, gardening, or any other topic that's related to agriculture, join us every Friday at 10 a.m. for the Mountaineer Farm Talk. We will learn, share, laugh, and enjoy a cup of cowboy coffee. We encourage audience participation, so have your questions ready. Today we have Leslie Boggess with us. Said we want to welcome her to the program, and she is going to talk about something that the senior voucher program for the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. What's the official title of the program, Leslie?
It's Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program.
Okay. And how long have they been? Tell us a little bit about the program.
Sure. So the program started back in 2001, and it was a pilot program from the federal government. USDA passed through the Food and Nutrition Service, and it was a pilot program to improve diets of low-income seniors.
Okay. Now is this a national program or just through West Virginia?
No, it's national. Every state gets an allocation for senior farmers market vouchers. Ours is about $450,000.
$850,000. And how is that? Is that more with rural areas or with some of the big cities, or where does that have the most impact at?
Well, I mean, the vouchers go to every county senior citizen center. And I mean, I kind of feel like it has the most impact in the rural communities, only because, I think it brings more business into these rural communities. I mean, I think these seniors are shopping with these vouchers when they otherwise wouldn't be shopping because they obviously are low income. And, they have $30 in vouchers that they can spend. And so I think it makes an impact in the more rural areas. But they are expended all throughout the state.
Okay. What you say? How much? Well, I guess first we'll backtrack. How is a senior eligible, and how many dollars worth of vouchers can they receive?
In order to meet the eligibility criteria, you have to be 60 years or older, and your income has to fall below the 185% federal poverty level. In order to sign up for the vouchers, the seniors will go to their local senior centers. And if they meet they have to fill out an application. And basically they just take it on their face value. So you'll give them, they'll give them the income. And then if they're eligible, they'll receive their coupon book at that time. This year, the coupon books are $30. There are 6 $5 vouchers in them, and that's up from $28 last year.
Okay.
So what about the producer side? The producers are receiving these vouchers. There's a little bit of training you have to do with these, right?
Sure. Yeah. There is a little bit of training. So Most of, as you all know, most of the extension agents or several extension agents are helping us out with our senior farmers market nutrition training, and we really appreciate that. So basically, what happens is you say, I want to sign up and be a vendor for senior farmers market. You'll contact your local extension agent. They'll do your training, and that training consists of, it's a little bit different, I think, county to county, but it basically gives you an overview of the program and then tells the farmers how to accept the vouchers. There's a component you're supposed to, match the signatures and so forth. It also talks about, depositing the vouchers. So there is a slight training component, but it's really nothing. And then the application is 4 pages, I think. You sign your name 3 times, and then you can accept these vouchers after you get an approval from West Virginia Department of Agriculture.
And,
So Leslie, this is Brandy from Roane County. I had a question about, so if a producer just realizes they've got excess and they hadn't been to the farmer's market all year and they passed the deadlines to get on the list at the senior centers, could they still apply to be a part of this program this fall? Going into, I know the program usually goes to the end of October, or is that
end of October, okay. Correct. So yeah, Brandy, this year, as we know, is a little bit different. We didn't get the vouchers out the door till mid-August, and that was because we couldn't get a banking contract on the federal end. So typically our cutoff for the producers to apply and make applications and get trained is July 31st. However, this year we've extended that, and we're currently still taking applications for producers to accept those coupons. So if you all know of anybody in your county that's interested, have them get in contact with me, and we'll make sure, they get trained in the application.
Great.
What would you say to those producers that are a little bit timid, about going in these new programs? I've sat through one, and of course I tell anybody, if I can do it, you can do it. So, but as far as bringing in more customers, I mean, do you see this really helping producers in the area?
I definitely do. Like I said, this is an opportunity. I mean, each senior gets $30 in coupons if they meet the criteria. And let's take, for instance, and I'll pick on Wood County. I think Wood County got 625 booklets. So, I mean, you can see there, you can do the math. So that's a huge boost, I think, to the farming community. And these are people that typically, I don't believe, would shop at the farmer's market because they wouldn't have the money. So I definitely think that, I mean, it's a little bit of training, in my opinion, and an application process, and I think it could potentially have a big return.
Okay. And you just deposit the vouchers at the bank, right? Just like cash, right?
Correct. Just like you're cashing a check.
Okay.
You have
Should we be worried here? It says that your degree is in criminal justice, so we should all be on our best behavior.
Absolutely. I might have a criminal justice degree, but my heart is in farming, so, and agriculture.
I seen that. Well, we talked a little bit earlier about your. Just tell us a little bit briefly about your farm there in Jackson.
So my husband and I have about 100 head, give or take, of beef cattle. We raise calves and we sell calves in the spring and in the fall. It's just my husband and I now. We have 3 grown children, but we're empty nesters now. We own some farms, but we own some farmland, but we lease up to about 1,000 acres. As John David can attest, my husband cuts hay all over Jackson County and used to cut up into Roane County, even, Brandy. So we feed about, 100 head of cattle in winter plus calves. We feed about 1,200 round bells a year. So you can, and as I mentioned before, we both have full-time jobs plus farming. So we're busy, but we both enjoy it a lot.
A little bit more with the nutritional aspect, and you other guys can chime in as well. But Leslie, with the what impact do you think it has on some of our seniors as far as promoting them to not only promoting but getting the opportunity for fresh fruits and vegetables?
Well, I think that obviously everybody needs to eat and consume fresh fruit and vegetables, but seniors that elderly population they're at risk for more chronic conditions, and consuming these fruits and vegetables has been shown to reduce the risk of things like heart disease, stroke, even cancer, and it can potentially lower your blood pressure and lower your blood sugar. And because these vouchers are available, again, I think that lots of these low income seniors who wouldn't have an opportunity to buy $30 worth of fresh fruits and vegetables are able to do that through this program.
And you have to produce your own vegetables to be in this program, right? It's not like you can buy out of state vegetables and bring them in. These farmers are producing their own. Is that correct?
Correct. It has to be locally produced, and we call locally because, you know, we have obviously border counties within 50 miles of that border county is locally, but obviously you can't go to South Carolina and bring some watermelons back and sell watermelons at, you know, with the senior farmer vouchers.
That's right. I like that aspect, and I really appreciate y'all sticking that in there because that promotes, you know, vegetable production and fruit production in their area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's just vital that with the program that you all are offering with the help of the USDA to get those seniors that needed vegetable, because it is the low income population that probably doesn't have the luxury of actually taking in a lot of fruits and vegetables when they go shopping on their limited income. So this is a great program to encourage them to eat more fruits and vegetables, and it's helping our farmers, you know, get more customers at the farmers market, get more traffic. And the more people who see it, maybe they go there once or twice with these vouchers, and then they decide to shop there on a regular because they enjoy the shopping experience or see the variety and see the prices are very competitive and sometimes lower than their supermarket prices that they're used to. And they get a different experience. They're not exposed to as many crowds as far as, you know, most of the farmers markets we have in the state are outdoors. So I think it's a win-win for the senior population, especially in this time with everyone concerned with you know, the health considerations as we get into the fall and what we've experienced over the last year. I think that, you know, farmers markets is definitely a great shopping venue for the older population, and getting that connection to our local growers is so important. You just see where the money's going and how it's getting put back in the community. I think that's definitely a benefit for this program.
I agree. You know, and the seniors that go to these markets and roadside stands and so forth, you know, they go back and they tell other seniors, and they also tell their families. You know, so you might have a family, you know, you might have a senior that shops, you know, at a local roadside market there in Road County, and, you know, they go back and talk to maybe their grandchild, and their grandchild's never stopped there, and they begin to stop there, you know, and buy local produce. So I definitely think you're right, Brandy. I think it's win-win.
And I've had some producers actually work with the senior centers as well, and they've set up special events, you know, kind of advertising, you know, this farmer will be at the senior center this day, you know, come if you know, this is what produce he will have. And if you're interested, bring your vouchers and get you some fresh produce on this day where we're kind of having an event. I've seen a couple farmers take advantage of that, and really, and it turned out well for the farmers and the seniors because they were able to meet up, and it was kind of like a special event that they had, and it really helped both you know, the seniors and the farmers.
That's a great idea, JD, for the people out there listening to us. How would they go about that? Do they have to get special permission, Leslie, to do because I know when you fill out the vendor application for your program, you have to identify what markets and what days you're going to be at the markets. How would you do that?
That's exactly right. And we do, like John David said, we do have some producers that actually go to the senior centers, which is great because, as you all know, lots of times the seniors don't have any transportation to and from the centers. Or if they do, it costs them, you know, an arm and a leg to get there. I had a lady call the other day and said, it cost me $10 to get a ride somewhere, you know. So as far as, you know, you can, if your application, let's say that you filled an application and you didn't put the senior center down, you can certainly call me later and tell me. Now, you know, you would have to go through the appropriate protocol as far as a farmer's market and, you know, your vendor permits and so forth, as well as speaking to the senior center and making sure they didn't have any issue with you selling, you know, produce on their lot.
I think that's awesome for our listeners out there, because that could be huge. Like, say they're done at the farmers market during their normal hours. If the senior centers are still open, maybe they could set up something where on a schedule where they could go and visit with those seniors that are located at the center. Maybe their families have taken them down there to get their meals. A lot of them go down there for the social aspect, and they can get some free produce while they're at the market or at the center.
And that's what I've been trying to have a couple producers think about doing, but I just can't get them to pull the trigger to set up I'm gonna call it a pop-up market almost at the senior center. They're like, well, we can just have the people stop by here, but as you said, they can't drive, and in some places it's easier to drive than it is in rural Wayne County for finding a ride to some farms. But I like the idea of having to bring the produce to them instead of having them come out.
Yeah, we have a lot of producers doing that, and I really think, if I were involved as a producer in the program, I really think that's something that I would look into doing, because, lots of times they'll set up, they'll give out those, let's say they give out the coupons from Tuesday from 10 to noon, and they'll set up at, noon, and then they have an opportunity to redeem those vouchers right there. And those seniors really do appreciate that. We've had probably a few less producers this year in the program, and probably because we got started late and COVID and all this other stuff. But there's been some counties that don't have any producers at all in the counties. And I've got some calls from seniors saying, how in the world are we going to spend these vouchers?
That's what I was thinking earlier, and I put in the chat about redemption rates across the state. I mean, you all have been doing it for what, 20 years or they're close.
Right.
Have you seen a trend in redemption rates per county or regions where, you might have a lower redemption? And has the Department of Agriculture talked about doing anything to combat that or improve redemption rates or connected with things in those areas?
Yeah, and I can say that from a statewide redemption rate, Connie Tully had this program for many years, and Connie retired. I took this program over just this year, but our redemption rates, and the feds have told us this, have been outstanding as far as the state. Now, we've talked in the office about our redemption rates this year. We're concerned because right now, because of COVID, COVID is very much ramping up. Kanawha County, and I'll pick on them again, they've completely shut down. Kanawha and Wood have completely shut down the distribution of their vouchers right now. Now, when someone's listening to this, that doesn't mean, that the markets won't be open. They should call. But because of COVID, they've been shut down. So we're concerned this year, Brandy, about our redemption rates because we got the program started late. And I'll use Ritchie County as an example. Ritchie County has no producer in the county that signed up to accept senior vouchers. So those people have to get over to, most of them have to get over to Wood County, to Witts or someplace over in Wood County. So I'm particularly worried about those rates, redemption rates in those counties. So I think better after this year, Brady, might be better to talk about that a little bit, because I think we will definitely see a drop in the redemption rates.
Well, I'm just concerned as an extension agent how we can better help our producers connect with those seniors. Like if we had a way that the Department of Agriculture could let us know the redemption rates for our county, then maybe we could say, set up some pre-made food bags, pick, and whatever the farmers market vendors had, this is a $5 bag, and they could even get connected with those Meals on Wheels programs if some counties have those, to where if the seniors have vouchers, they can't get out of their house because they're concerned with COVID or other, illnesses of the winter, or of the fall, then maybe that could help boost it. So I think maybe keeping that communication line open with the extension offices in the counties where you're offering the program could really benefit the producers and the seniors as we go on throughout this year. And
Brandy,
COVID concerns are always in everybody's mind here lately. So
Brandy, I do have those redemption rates for county for the last several years.
Oh, okay.
I can send those to everybody here. That way we maybe look and see what's going on.
And another idea that I kind of like to throw out there, and just to see what Ms. Boggess, what you think about this. We do the food giveaways. So a lot of the individuals all around the county that might be at that lower income levels may be in one area at one point in time. would there be any way we could do sign-ups on those days for saying, hey, if you're over 60, this is available to you if you'd like to fill this out. We can get you signed up for this program as well, because a lot of these people that come to some of these programs like that really actually, they could really use that produce. And that is a great, I think, audience to help, and to get this program out there too. So what is your thoughts on that? Would there be something we could do, maybe team up with some of these other programs we're already got running as well?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great, John David. Currently, the applications are taken at the local senior centers, but, with that being said, you could invite, a representative from your local senior center to your food distribution, or, maybe, times are changing all the time. It might be an opportunity for you all to do the applications yourself. Like I said, in the past, it's always been done by the senior centers, but with times changing, there's definitely an opportunity. But until then, I definitely reach out to, the senior center in your area and say, hey, would you want to come down and sign these people up? And again, you're outside and,
Yeah,
that's something maybe the State Department of Agriculture could encourage across the state for these, because I know, like John David, we have a set date where the seniors, where the food distribution is, and like for our food bank, it's every Wednesday, and that's located. This one food bank is located in the senior center, so that's not as much of an issue. But when they do the food distribution, where they bring from the centralized Mountaineer food bank gas station region, I mean, it's probably different in other areas. There's a set day of the month that, we know we're going to see that lower income folks, and they're definitely not at the senior center because of, just accessibility. Like I know John David, on ours happens usually at our local high school in the parking lot, and we have several volunteers like the local Rotary Club, Boy Scouts, the state police, just a variety of people that come and volunteer to help make that happen. But that's something that I've never thought of that idea. So that's a great idea, John David. But maybe if the statewide, the State Department could put that out there, if some of the senior centers are closed down or working from home, they wouldn't feel as exposed if they were in an outdoor setting collecting that information or signing people up in those programs.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. And like I said, I think that's definitely something we could explore. We're getting late in the year this year. And like I said, we started so late, but I think it's definitely something we can explore. And I like the idea of, applications at the food distribution sites. I mean, those are the people that we need, 60 and older are the people that we need to get. And some of these people, even though this program is very well publicized by Department of Agriculture, I mean, we do a press release, we do Facebook and a little bit of everything else. We also have some radio ads. There are still people that don't know about the program, and I think, that food giveaway would be an opportunity, to provide those vouchers.
Now, what do you know, Leslie, what eligibility material they have to bring with them when they sign up?
Yeah, really, they don't have to bring anything, Brandy, because it's self-reported. So everybody takes, whatever is set at face value. So if you come in and say, I get $10,000 in income, a year, and I'm a single household, then you're obviously eligible. So the centers or whomever's taking the applications has the guidelines, with the application, and they just make sure they fall below that 185% poverty level.
Yeah, Leslie, talk a little bit about the specialty crop block grants that the department has. And
Sure. So I've taken these over in the past couple of years as well. So we have the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program, and that's a federal program through the USDA, and it comes through Agricultural Marketing Service. And this is to assist applicants to enhance the competitiveness of specialty crops. So the department receives about $270,000 every year to promote specialty crops. So the department itself, state of West Virginia, and the department, not the department, the state of West Virginia has came up with a plan, if you will, and they provide an opportunity to develop and enhance the specialty crop programs by targeting activities that increase production, promotion, research, and the sale of specialty crops throughout the state. So this application is, I get a lot of questions every day, you know, hey, I'm Leslie Farmer and I want to, you know, grow more carrots. Okay, this application is not for that. But I'm Leslie Boggess, and I've decided that, you know, I found this different carrot, if you will, and I want to see how it grows in West Virginia. That would be something that would be, you know, eligible for funding. Not just Leslie Boggess wanting to expand my carrot production.
What are some examples of some specialty crop block grants that you funded that were some good success stories from that?
Okay, so we fund a lot of high tunnels in schools. Your all's co-worker in Putnam County that's recently retired, and his name's escaping me right now. He's had several high tunnels, you know, in the past, I don't know how long, probably past 10 years.
That's where my high tunnel for Pritchard being funded through from Chuck's grant he got a couple years ago.
Oh, go ahead, Leslie.
And she had to step away for just 1 second here, but Brandy, you've worked a little bit with women in ag and with some of the SARE grants. You know, they kind of run side by side almost. Could you tell us a little bit about the SARE grants and who we need to contact if anybody's interested in that, and kind of how they compare to the specialty crop grant?
So the specialty block grants are funded through the USDA and the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. The department gets an allocation of so much money from the federal government, and then the state Department of Ag has to submit a state plan with all the grant applications that they've had approved by a grant review board. The SARE grants is actually provided by Northeast Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education. And in West Virginia, we have 2 SARE coordinators. Dee Sing Knights is the lead coordinator, along with Barbara Liedl from West Virginia State University. Dee Sing Knights, she is our Ag Econ specialist at WVU Extension. And those grants are aimed at, they actually have a couple different grants. They have some professional development grants for ag service providers that focus on, you know, what like the specialty crop grants, trying to develop markets and see what provide training for like extension agents or other ag service providers in an area that's going to improve market development, as long as it's in a sustainable way. So their focus is really on sustainability. And then the other grants that they provide are the farmer grants, and the farmer grants are for that same type of research, and it could be, you know, in sustainable, in SARE, it doesn't have to just focus on specialty crops. It can be livestock and vegetable or fruit production. And that's where the farmer would agree to conduct on-farm research and kind of like pay themselves to conduct this research, like using Leslie's carrot example, to grow a specific carrot variety and maybe do a testing of which carrot varieties grow best in a certain soil profile, for example. So the other thing about SARE grants is they require that you have a ag service provider mentor. So you have to work closely like with your local extension agent or your NRCS agent, so that it is a sustainable program, that it does have all the components, and that the farmer is actually going to be capable of meeting the deliverables that they're promising. So they definitely have to have what's it called? Maybe Leslie can help me with this, but they definitely have to have those measurable goals, and then benchmarks for reaching those goals, just like very similar to the specialty crop grant program. Actually, I used to work for the Department of Agriculture, and similar role that Leslie has now, you know, managing the specialty crop block grant program. So there's a lot of similarities. I know the Department of Agriculture, and Leslie, you can speak to this. Their grant funds are quite, you know, I think there was like 25,000. I don't know what the range is now, but it's a little different than the SARE grants. And SARE used to be due December 1st. I haven't looked lately. I'll have to look and report back the deadline. I know we just received a notification in our inbox from our SARE coordinator for the state that so many different grants were awarded throughout the state. So I'd say that deadline's passed for this year, but you can always be working for a professional development grant. Say you're a dairy farmer and you want to add value to your product, like you're making milk and you want to learn how to make cheese. You can put in for a professional development grant to travel to a cheese making school, and as long as it was approved, you're going to add value to your product. You're going to learn a new skill. That's something that you might be eligible to receive some funding on. But the main contact is Dee Sing Knights, and again, Barbara Liedl from West Virginia State. So if you want their contact information, contact any of us on the show. We'll get that to you, and you can go from there.
Well, thank you, Brandy, for that. Back to you, Leslie. Sorry, I was buying you some time there.
Thank you, John David. Appreciate it.
So when is your deadline and opening dates and all for the specialty crop grants?
So the RFA for the specialty crop usually comes out mid to late December. Applications are typically due about the beginning of March. And that fluctuates just a little bit. Like I said, we always do a press release. There's always information on the WVDA website. So those dates do fluctuate a little bit.
Okay, and another question, kind of lapping back to what we were talking about, not to change the subject too far back, but there was a question I had with the voucher program too. I want to go ahead and ask before I forget about it. There's been fluctuations on the time that you can receive the vouchers and when they start the program. You know, it started late this year, you know, with some problems with the bank, you know, and all that, getting that lined up. But is it going to go back to, you know, June or July or whenever in the future?
I hope so, John David. The issue that with the state of West Virginia is having, and several other states are, everybody's getting away from these paper vouchers, paper checks. No one wants to take those anymore. Everybody wants to go to EBT cards. Well, we all know what the problem is with EBT cards in rural West Virginia. You know, you have to have a smartphone. The smartphone has to have service. They need internet and so forth. So we're working through some challenges right now. We actually have explored an additional banking, you know, contact person, hoping that we might do paper vouchers again next year. So if that happens and everything is running on track like we anticipate, I would say getting those vouchers out the beginning to mid-June. That's best case scenario, and that's typically what Connie Tolley's done in the past. So hopefully we'll get, you know, all the kinks worked out between now and then, you know, and get back on track. You know, and I know you guys are hearing it. One of the big issues that we've heard with the late distribution of the vouchers is that a lot of the produce is gone. You know, by the time, you know, lots of roadside stands and so forth don't have produce anymore. So that's some of the things that we've heard that are challenges for these seniors.
And one of the things I was thinking about is the high tunnel producers, because, you know, they come off there in mid-June to beginning of June, and they're done by July, you know, in their hothouses with the tomatoes, and they're gearing up for another crop there, and they can get a quick crop like cucumbers or something, you know, that you can have a quick turnaround on, maybe catch the end of those vouchers. But I'd like to see it go back to mid-June. That way it can kind of still hit those high tunnel producers, but also get those field production producers in there as well.
Definitely, John David, I can tell you that this has not been a great year for us. You know, who would have thought that we would have been, you know, the first and second week of August just getting vouchers out. Like I said, the banking contract has held us up. and for those of you that know a little bit about this program, and probably Brandy knows this, there's a WIC component of this program that hasn't even ran for a few years because WIC hasn't been able to get a banking contract. So there are lots of challenges, but I hear what you're saying about the June start date, and we're going to put forth every effort next year to make sure that we hit that June start date.
Again, Leslie, what's the deadline for the application for the farmers and the vendors, and as far as the and the trainings, as far as the deadlines for those?
Typically it's July 31st. Like I said, this year we've had to extend that because of the extenuating circumstances that we've had. But typically we want everybody trained and all the final applications in by July 31st. One thing I failed to mention with that is, John David, you were talking about the redemption of the vouchers. Each farmer has a stamp and a stamp number that is unique to them. So that's a tracking mechanism for us as well, and that helps us with our redemption rates and so forth.
Okay. Yeah. I remember I went through one just to see the training there, and I remember getting the stamp there. So, and it's pretty easy, for the guys that are accepting the vouchers. So don't be hesitant to sign up for this program. It's a great program. Leslie, you do a little bit about with Farm to School as well, right?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, John David.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Farm to School. I know it's been more of a challenge in Jackson County over the years,
Right.
but in other counties it works great. It's really embraced. So tell us a little bit about this program.
So we do have a Farm to School, in conjunction with the Department of Ed, and we had a meeting about May. Trying to get some people back on board with Farm to School, if you will, with the kids being out of school and with COVID and everything going on. That Farm to School has kind of fallen off in a lot of areas. I will say, and I'm not singling anyone out, but Mason County has a great Farm to School program, and I'm very familiar with Mason County's program. So Mason County does a lot with individual farmers, but they do something that's unique, John David, and I think that's something that we need to explore as big as our fair is. They buy most of the resale animals that those kids are going to take to the markets and pay the resale price, and then use that in the schools, whether it be beef or pork or whatever. And I've often thought, John David, with as big as Jackson County's fair is, and as many animals that go to resale, that might be a way, to get the food nutrition, food service directors on board and so forth to just put Farm to School and let this. I think that would be neat for those kids to know, hey, I'm eating a steer that my friend Bobby raised or something like that. So I think John David, I think Jackson County's missing the boat on that.
I've been really trying to push this over the years, and I've got a little bit of a foothold, but as soon as you get one, it seems to slip away. And I think there's definitely room to grow and to get this working. But I think we're just going to have to maybe approach it a different way in Jackson County. Just keep trying to hit it from different angles till I find that right, area to get in there. So. But yeah, I think it works in great in other counties, especially Mason County. Rodney Walbrown done a phenomenal job, and he had phenomenal support. And I think where it really comes down to either being successful or not successful is your cooks. I think we really need to do a little bit more education, a little bit more prep with the cooks to get them on board. I think once the cooks are on board, it's kind of like bus drivers in Jackson County. Whatever happens in the school system, you got to get the bus drivers on board. But with the Farm School is on the cooks, so I'd like to maybe approach it from that angle and get the cooks on board and try it that way. But check with your school systems for in your county and get to know the Farm to School program, and you could probably market some vegetables through them.
Absolutely. And there's a little bit more planning, I think, with Farm to School, obviously, because those food nutrition directors have to know what you're going to be able to produce. And if you say, I can bring you, 40 pounds of potatoes 3 times a week, then they're expecting 40 pounds of potatoes 3 times a week, different than obviously a farmer's market setup or something like that. And I think that's been a challenge too for producers is you know, getting into the schools and then figuring out what the schools want. As far as, you know, beef, I've been, you know, being a beef farmer myself, you know, I've kind of beat this drum, and the issue that school nutrition directors have with buying local beef is they get the commodities, and that commodity beef is so cheap, not nearly as good, we know that, but so cheap. So it's hard, you know, they have to spend up these commodities and they have limited funds, and we understand that. So it is a struggle. But like I said, in Mason County, they've made it work. And there are many other counties I know throughout the state that are doing great things with farm to school. I'm just very familiar with Mason County.
And Leslie, on that side of things, I'm originally from Mason. They buy the animals from resale from the fair, like last week they did. They paid 75 cents a pound for hogs and $1.20 for fat steers. And now another person gets the other market animal, but they always get the fat steers and the hogs. So that money just goes back either into the pocket of the kid or back into the business that bought that animal and didn't want anything to do with it. And then
I think that might be a problem there that would stand in the way in Jackson County, just looking at, because, you know, those resale animals at the stockyard bring a little bit more than that. And, you know, I think they're trying to sell them as high as they can to recoup the resale price for that buyer as well that originally purchased that animal. But I do like that idea. And in other states, they do very similar things. I bought some resale steers in Mississippi, you know, because they're only allowed to sell one. So if they have 2 or 3 steers, those kids can market them at the market price, and there's a set price. It just goes on them. And if you get there, you know, and agree to pay that price, it's your steer. I bought several steers when I was in graduate school that way. So, but yes, and farmer school, is there any push to maybe do regionals? Because like if you're in a county that doesn't have a strong farm to school program and your bordering county does, could we get those producers into that other county?
Sure. You know, our summit there that we held at Cedar Lakes was a regional summit, you know, comprised of 6 counties. And I definitely think so, because, you know, we know some counties are, you know, I think Preston has potatoes, you know, so Jackson County might not have potatoes. And even though it's a distance, you know, I mean, I think there's lots of networking that has to take place in order for farm to school to work anywhere. So I think that, you know, I think everything's on the table right now. We're, like I said, we have a sort of a push, and we're working closely with the Department of Ed to rebrand and revamp farm to school, since the kids are back in school right now, and hopefully they'll stay in school. You know, we last year wanted to do the Apple Crunch initiative for, you know, school nutrition month, and we weren't able to do that because there wasn't enough kids in school, and they didn't want the kids, you know, handling the apples and so forth. So there's been all kinds of challenges. Also, West Virginia Department of Ag, through a grant, we're working on some additional signage and posters and so forth to provide to the schools, and that'll be in the coming months.
Yeah, I think what you are doing for the farmers with the farm to school program is great. I mean, I know our counties across West Virginia have found success working with the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Education. I know the Office of Child and Nutrition are very instrumental in getting farm to school programs set up, and it is working pretty well in some regional parts of the state. I know Barber County and Preston County, they have like a growers co-op. We used to do one here locally that sold a lot of produce to several different school systems throughout different counties. So it's doable. The trick is to get the farmers to communicate, work together, because there's only one food nutrition director. I'll give you an example. In our county, in Roane County, our food nutrition schools, that's 4 different school districts he's working with. So if he does commit to buy a farmer's product, he's going to want to know that he has one contact person, not 10 contact people. And I think that's the challenge that we have. We have to challenge our producers in West Virginia, whether they're protein producers or vegetable producers. You've got to work together to help one another, to pull each other on board and get it as easy, make it as easy as possible for those food service directors to purchase your product as if they would be purchasing it off of a Cisco truck. I mean, and that's the thing that I think many of our producers have struggled with. I've seen it firsthand in the co-op that I worked with. If you're not on board working together and everybody's pulling in the same direction, it's not going to be a sustainable thing. So, and again, just to add to what Leslie said about production planning, you have to have your ducks in a row to have that consistent product. And it's always good to have more than one producer growing those tomatoes or growing those cucumbers, because if something happens for this week in your cucumber patch, you've got another grower that's going to fill that order that you committed to. So when you commit to it, it's kind of like contract growing, except the schools are not going to sign a contract. They're going to buy every cucumber you produce. And that's where the producers really have a hard time with that. They want to have that guarantee, but they have to have faith, and they've got to live up to their side of the deal with the school system too. So I agree with John David when he said, working with the cooks, getting to know them, and communication, but also realizing everybody's on a time crunch and have a lot of responsibilities, and make it as efficient meeting as possible with those food service directors and cooks.
I agree. And another thing that we tell producers is you don't have to go all in the first time. Lots of people, let's say you're growing watermelons and it's time for the kids to go back to school, and the kindergarten class is talking about watermelons. You can sell some watermelons to kindergarten. You don't have to be all in. And I think most food nutrition directors understand that in the state that West Virginia has smaller scale farmers for the most part. So, finding someone that's going to provide every potato or every carrot they need throughout the school year is probably not going to happen.
Okay, well, Leslie, I appreciate all that about the the farm to school. Is there, circling back to the voucher program, how do we get more farmers or vendors involved in that? Or any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, we've brainstormed this a little bit in the office, especially this year with sort of a decrease in vendors. I think one thing is the extension agents. I mean, you all have a lot of contact with these farmers, and I know you already are. But I would sing the praise of the program and how it's not only beneficial for the seniors, but beneficial for them. They're opening their business up to a whole new realm. And people are sometimes afraid. I think John David alluded to this. Sometimes afraid to do something new and maybe take these vouchers, but the training is minimal, and it's just like taking a check to the bank and depositing it right now. So to me, it's just, it's kind of a no-brainer, really, because they're there. They've set up at the market. They've set up at the roadside stand anyway. Why not be available for the entire audience of purchasers?
And I have to ask you, Leslie, a couple questions. Because I'm trying to keep tally. Who is your favorite? Are you a big country music fan?
Absolutely.
Who's your favorite artist?
I like good old Brad Paisley.
Brad
good old West
Paisley.
Virginia boy. I like him.
That's a good vote. We haven't had any votes for him.
Yeah, I like Brad Paisley.
Good. We were. Well, I see. Last week was Alabama. So, and then we've had Ronnie Millsap and Garth Brooks, and not a lot of the new stuff.
Definitely Garth and Alan Jackson. Definitely.
But more, we promote Alan Jackson. We promote country and western. So, but we've had some people that aren't big country fans. But you have a favorite song from that artist?
Well, I mean,
Brad Paisley.
It's the funeral song, but where he does a duet, When I Get to Where I'm Going, or whatever it is, it's kind of a funeral song, kind of a sad song. I like that, but also like his, I'm Gonna Miss Her, where he's talking about fishing. I like a lot of his songs. I mean, honestly,
yeah, that's good.
I think I just like him in general. Haven't got to see him in concert, but hoping to do that. It's on my bucket list.
Oh, okay. When I think of Brad Paisley, I always think of Mud on the Tires. I think that's one of his best
Absolutely.
songs.
Yep.
Oh, I got something to say about country music. We can't forget to mention we've got some good lineup down at the State Fair. We had Tracy Bird and Tracy Lawrence last night, which was Thursday night down at the State Fair, and
Oh yeah.
Brantley Gilbert's coming tonight. So if you country music fan and can make the trip down to Lewisburg, definitely check that out. And then there's going to be a buck and bull ride on Saturday night. So country music fans might really like the visit to the State Fair to see all our colleagues with the livestock exhibits, the 4-H agents and their youth exhibits in the Cecil Underwood building. We have a presence down there we have a WVU building full of educational stuff. So if you don't have any plans tomorrow or later this evening, you should hop on down to Lewisburg and check out the State Fair for sure.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, Leslie, for coming on.
Thank you, Leslie.
Really, shined a light on the programs. What is a good contact for you if anybody wants to get a hold of you and had some additional questions we might have not have covered?
Well, they can call me anytime at the office, of course. The office number is 304-558-2210. Just ask for Leslie Boggess. I always tell people this, everybody's busy, so leave me a message. Lots of people won't leave messages. All that, Leslie won't get back. Sure, I'll get back with you. So leave me a message. Also, they can get me, via email at lboggess, and it's BOGGESS @wvda.us.
Okay. So if anybody has a question that we didn't cover, feel free to get a hold of Leslie. And thank you so much for everyone joining in today. And till next time, we'll see you around the ridge.